Okay. We'll see, this thing's bouncing around on me, mostly because I got a weird touch thing on, so I have a weird, now I know what's going on. Alright, so I apologize for cutting off the top there on the last one, but we'll have to kind of figure out what we missed after we look at it. I'll repost another one if I have. We have started this by drafting a box larger than the thing I want to draft. I drafted the box, I used offset 10, offset through. I established strong baseline. Actually, the strong baselines were straight up and over. I broke them, I filled them, and then I did some copy rotates by clicking on a line and rotating it 80 degrees positively and then 60 degrees negatively twice. We now have established pretty much strong baselines and base circles. In the end now we can do any number of things, but one thing we might want to do is realize that if you have a long offset, a long connected line that is parallel to another long connected line, arc, whatever, you can use the offset, so you typically only have to draft one. So someplace in here there is a circle that is 2 with a radius. In other words, 0.25 offset from this circle there. So I can do O for offset, 2.25, I'm sorry, 0.25, and I can offset that circle there. That now, for my eye to start working well, we can take that one and change it to the layer object. So we more or less have that circle. And then we can start filling in these other circles. We can maybe fill in the inside circles, which all have a diameter of 0.75, and you drew all your circles by going up here. And I'll show you, if I go up, I'll do the first one and you'll see what I'm kind of doing wrong. Center diameter. I'm going to grab the center of the circle as the intersection of right there, and a diameter of 0.75 I'm typing. Now if you notice, that is going in on the wrong layer, so I can very quickly take that, right click, change the properties, and change it to the correct layer being object. So you do not have to draft on the correct layer. You notice here the object here is still view, but let's go ahead and draft up the other 2 circles that exist within this here. And those other 2 circles are a radius of 0.75 and then something offset from that. So we're going to go ahead and do perhaps a draw circle radius from the intersection of that with a radius of 0.75. That again, there is one more offset circle, but we're not going to draft that until last. You notice I didn't change my current layer to object. So when I do that, it doesn't change this layer here, but I can left click on it and change it to layer object. We now have basically a pretty good starting point for what we're going to now copy around. And copy is another modify command, and it works again by doing this. Left click and left click, select on what you want, then left click on what you want to pick, move, or rotate, and go spacebar, C for copy, and then go ahead and show it the places you want to copy it to, the intersection there, shift right click, the intersection there, shift right click the intersection there, and shift right click the intersection here. You now have essentially, you're going to just finish your drafting on the major piece and then do an offset. So here's how you do the drafting on the major piece. You understand that when you do break and your snaps are off, you have to break in a positive direction. So I will show you what I mean by a positive direction in a circle. If I break from here to here, it goes the wrong way. So I hit U for undo, and if I do BR in a positive direction, I break across from here to here. Spacebar remembers the break 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 from here to here. In all reality, I don't need to do this next one to break the circle, but it's not a bad habit. I'm wheeling out. BR for break. I'm left clicking, getting close. Spacebar, 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 left clicking, getting close. And I've left just enough in between here that I can now take advantage of, again, that all-important command of fillet radius. How do I do that? I need to know that the radius is 0.25 typically, so F for fillet, R for radius, 0.25. And then I start going through left click and left click on what I want to keep, spacebar. Left click on what I keep, spacebar. Left click on what I keep, spacebar. Left click on what I want to keep, spacebar. Left click on what I keep, spacebar. Left click on what I want to keep, spacebar. Left click on what I want to keep, spacebar. Left click on what I keep, spacebar. You get the kind of idea of the rhythm, spacebar. Left click on what I want to keep. You essentially have the piece drafted. It, however, has an interior radius, it would appear, of a diameter of 3. So you can finally go to draw a circle, center diameter, shift right click from the intersection of here, diameter of 2. And essentially you have, it's wrong. Visually you see it's not a diameter of 2, it's a diameter of 3. One thing you can do if you do that, however, is you can then start to use the dynamic if in fact your settings are set this way. I'm holding my shift, right click, going to Object Snap Settings. In the dynamic input, you would like your settings to be set with just the resulting dimension on. If you have it set that way and you've drafted something wrong, you can go to the dynamic with it on, you can left click on it and then left click on one of those and you'll see that number there, and you can remember that that should be a 1.5. And now visually this piece looks correct. The last thing you need to do is worthwhile to learn. It's going to be worthwhile to learn to use a lot of these little tools up here like freeze. So I'm just going to introduce that to you. These are going to be really useful. You can do it here by turning layers off, but if you see this on this toolbar here, that little there, it's to freeze layers. So I'll show you why you would freeze layers. You're going to click that because now you've left clicked on that, and you're going to left click on that in a spacebar, and all you have left are these lines, which means now you can do polyline edit, PE, spacebar. And again, with the dynamic on or off, you left click on something. It says, do you want to turn it into one? You say yes. J for join. And you can now actually do a mouse window select, so you grab everything, including what's not going to join because it's there, and you hit a space bar, and what you have then is something that's all connected. Excuse me. You can now offset 0.125, offset 0.125, space bar, grab your object just on the outside, and in the end you can go back now to your layer toolbar here and turn or unfreeze center line. And at that point we'll end, because I can't, in my screen here, I can't pull this out. I'll try that here. Close that up, and you have your piece. So that's 20 minutes. You can try it again in class. There's a lot of skills there of great importance, is the kind of learning how to left click, and then spacebar and do your rotations. Thanks for listening.